Have you ever looked into the eyes of your newborn, and felt nothing but betrayal? That's what happened to me. When my wife gave birth, the entire room cheered. Except me. Because the moment I saw the baby, I knew, something was very, very wrong. And this is the story of how my perfect life crumbled in a single heartbeat, and how I clawed my way back. My name is Alex, and until 2 years ago, I thought I was living the dream. I met my wife, Emily, in college. She was smart, beautiful, and seemed to light up every room she walked into. We dated for 5 years before I proposed, and she said yes through tears of joy. We bought a small house in the suburbs and spent weekends painting the walls and planting flowers together. She loved to bake. I loved to build furniture. Everyone said we were the perfect couple, the kind that made others believe in love again. When Emily told me she was pregnant, it felt like the next chapter in our fairy tale. I worked overtime and picked up side jobs to save for the baby's room, the best stroller, the best car seat. We spent nights scrolling through baby names, laughing over the worst ones and circling our favorites. Every time I felt that little kick under her belly, I couldn't stop smiling. I thought, this is it. This is happiness. Our parents were thrilled. Friends bought us gifts. Emily would tell me how lucky she felt to have me. But beneath that perfect facade, something was brewing, and I didn't see it coming. Looking back now, I realize the signs were all there. About halfway through the pregnancy, she started spending more time at work. She claimed she needed to catch up on projects before maternity leave. But sometimes she'd come home later than usual, and when I'd ask how her day was, she'd say, "Oh, it was fine," then immediately head to the shower. One evening, I saw her phone light up with a text while she was cooking. It read, "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was perfect." When I asked about it, she laughed nervously and said it was a coworker joking about a group dinner they'd had. I wanted to believe her, so I did. But after that, she started guarding her phone more. She kept it face down at all times. If I walked into the room, she'd quickly switch screens. She even put a passcode on it, something she never did before. I told myself she was just stressed from the pregnancy and work. That hormones made her moody and distant. I convinced myself that once the baby came, everything would go back to normal. But late at night, while she slept beside me, I'd stare at the ceiling and feel this unease. Like I was missing a piece of a puzzle. And that piece would come crashing down the day our baby arrived. The day of the delivery was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. We rushed to the hospital at dawn. I held her hand through the contractions, wiped her forehead, whispered how proud I was. When the doctor finally handed me the baby, my hands trembled. But as I looked down at his little face, my stomach sank. He didn't look like me. At all. I know babies can take after grandparents or distant relatives, but this felt different. His skin was darker than either of ours. His hair was thick and curly, nothing like mine or Emily's. Even the nurse seemed to glance at me awkwardly. Still, I forced a smile and told Emily he was beautiful. But inside, my mind was racing. When we got home, I couldn't stop staring at him. At night, I'd hold him and try to convince myself it was just my imagination. But every time Emily saw me looking at him like that, she'd snap, "Stop being ridiculous. Of course he's yours." One night, while Emily was asleep, I took a deep breath, got out of bed, and ordered a DNA test online. A week later, the kit arrived. When Emily was out shopping, I swabbed the baby's cheek and sent it back. Waiting for those results was pure torture. When the email finally came, my hands shook as I opened it. Probability of paternity, 0%. I felt like the air was sucked out of the room. I stared at the screen for what felt like hours, reading and rereading the words, hoping they'd change. But they didn't. And that's when everything inside me broke. The next few days were a blur. I still got up at night to feed the baby, still kissed Emily on the cheek, still pretended everything was fine. But inside, I was falling apart. I felt betrayed, humiliated, angry, and yet, I couldn't bring myself to scream or cry. Every time I looked at Emily, I felt this burning mix of love and hatred. She was the woman I'd built my life around, and she'd shattered it without a second thought. I'd stare at the baby, this innocent little boy, and feel nothing but emptiness. It wasn't his fault, but he was a constant reminder of her betrayal. Finally, one morning, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I confronted her. I held up my phone with the test results and said, "You want to explain this?" For a moment, she just stared at me. Then she started crying. She admitted it almost immediately. She'd been having an affair with a coworker for over a year. She claimed she thought it would fizzle out and that she still loved me. But the damage was already done. That night, I packed a bag and left. And for the first time in years, I slept alone. The divorce was messy. Emily begged me to stay at first. Then she got angry. Then she tried to guilt me by saying I was abandoning the baby. Her family called me heartless. My family was shocked. But I stood my ground. I filed for divorce, citing infidelity. We sold the house and split the money. She moved in with her parents. I got a small apartment downtown. Financially, it was brutal. I had to pay for lawyers, move my stuff, start over completely. But I told myself, no amount of money was worth living a lie. Emily tried to get child support at first, but the DNA test ended that quickly. The last time I saw her was in the courtroom. She looked tired, defeated. The man she'd cheated with didn't even show up to support her. When it was all finalized, I walked outside, took a deep breath, and felt free. Over time, I started to heal. I focused on work, hit the gym, and even started dating again. A year later, I met someone who treated me with respect, someone honest. Meanwhile, Emily tried reaching out to me several times. She sent texts like, "I made a mistake and we can fix this." But by then, I didn't even feel anger anymore. Just pity. She had to live with the choices she made. And me? I finally got my life back. This experience taught me more than I ever wanted to know. First, trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is. I ignored red flags because I didn't want to believe Emily was capable of this. I wanted my fairy tale so badly, that I blinded myself to the truth. Second, protect yourself financially and legally. If I hadn't done that DNA test, who knows how long I'd have paid for a child that wasn't mine. Men, don't be afraid to ask questions, even if they hurt. Third, you are stronger than you think. At my lowest, I felt like my entire world was over. But now, looking back, I see it was just the beginning of a better chapter. And lastly, forgiveness doesn't mean taking someone back. It means letting go of the anger so you can move on. Now, when I think about Emily, I don't feel hate anymore. I feel grateful, because her betrayal forced me to grow, to rebuild, to find real happiness. And that's something no one can take away. If you've ever experienced betrayal, know that you're not alone, and you can come out stronger. Drop a comment below and share your story. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more true stories, and hit the bell so you never miss an upload.